is our weekly top 5 segment, one I was very excited for because it's a very interesting topic. I'll start us off, but our topic this week is the top 5 pair of brothers in the NFL in the past 5 years. So we cut it off. Obviously, the Mannings would be at like the top of this list, but we cut it off in the last 5 years, top 5 brothers in the NFL. Starting in number 5, I have Chris and Kyle Long. How I did this best was to think of players that I thought were good players, and then to differentiate them, I used accolades. That's the thing that I could think of the most. So the Longs, 2 Super Bowl wins, all by one brother though. A Walter Payton Man of the Year award between them. 3 Pro Bowls and 1 All-Pro. Not a bad resume, but obviously at the bottom of the list, there are brothers that are better than them. Moving up, number 4, the McCourtys. Devin and Jason McCourty. I think a lot of this has to do with the team they played for, but teams elevate talent sometimes. That's what good teams do. Between the McCourtys, they have 3 Super Bowls, 2 Pro Bowls, and 3 All-Pros. Most of the accolades are won with New England. Most of the accolades are won by Devin McCourty, but I would say Devin McCourty has been better than either of the Long brothers on their own. But they're very interesting because they're twins. So that's another aspect of this that is very interesting. In my number 3 spot, I have the Kelseys. They have 2 Super Bowls between them, 8 All-Pros, and 10 Pro Bowls. We're getting more dominant now, more and more accolades on the table. One thing that has been a theme through all of these, one brother far superior in the other brother. Travis Kelsey is just an animal. Jason Kelsey was good. He was good with Philly, but Travis Kelsey is much better tight end than Jason Kelsey was a lineman. He's possibly going to be one of the greatest tight ends of all time if he keeps it up. So that's where we're going. And now to the top 2. And this is where things start to balance out a hair. At number 2, I have the Pounceys. The Pounceys between the both of them, 13 Pro Bowls and 5 All-Pros. Neither of them, fortunately, were able to win a Super Bowl, but it's just a level of dominance by both of them. They're both so good on their own, and it's like you think of brothers. They went to college. I think they went to the same college together. They're drafted. I think one went to the draft before the other one, and then playing on their NFL teams in their own right. I know Mike was with Pittsburgh, and I think Marquise was with Miami, or at least he was there for a period of time, but they were just so good. You never really heard too many bad words about the Pounceys. They've been dominant for a very, very long time. Both of them out of the league now, but in the last 5 years, both Pounceys had played. A great pair of brothers, but the best pair of brothers, in my opinion, somewhat of an easy decision if you go off of the way that I measure success. You have the Watts. JJ and TJ. Sorry, Derek, you were excluded off of this list. You didn't really add much to it anyways, but 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards, all won by JJ. An AFC Defensive Player of the Year, won by TJ. You have a Walter Payton Man of the Year award by JJ. And between all the two of them, 8 Pro Bowls, 8 All-Pros, and 3-time NFL sack leaders. Just complete dominance on the defensive line by a set of brothers who that level of play we have seen recently, and we don't know if they can sustain it, but that level of dominance by a pair of brothers is almost unheard of. And finally, my underdog, number 6 pick, are the Diggs. 1 All-Pro, 1 Pro Bowl, but an NFL reception leader last year and NFL yards leader last year and a current NFL interception leader. I think Trayvon and Stephon Diggs are a pair of brothers to watch out for the future.
Yeah, that's a good list. I like a lot of it. I gotta admit, I'm not a big Watt guy, which is weird. As prolific as they've been, I've always felt like TJ and JJ, while they've been obviously really good players, I almost feel like they've, in my opinion, right, that they've always been a little overhyped. JJ got to play with Jadeveon Clowney on the other side. Pittsburgh has a number of other pass rushers, so TJ has a lot of opportunities. So I think they're good players. I've always been, just me, my opinion, I've never been a big TJ or JJ Watt guy. But all right, I'll go through my list right now, and I'm starting at the top, number 5. I'm going to go Zach and Nick Martin, right? And this is more Zach than Nick. Zach Martin is a Hall of Fame guard, right? He's even played tackle last year. He's 6-time All-Pro. He's the best player on Dallas's team. He's been that way for a number of years. This guy's constantly ranked in the top 10, top 15, top 20 when the NFL does their 100 players list. He's an absolute stud. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. They run behind him all day. Ezekiel, Elliott, and Dak Prescott's success is tied directly to Zach Martin. Nick Martin was a second-round pick out of Notre Dame, started for Houston a while, plays with Vegas now. A good player, solid player, not a great player. This is more about Zach at number 5. Number 4, I'm going with the Bosa's, right? What they're able to do as pass rushers, I think, is unbelievable in terms of just raw talent and playmaking ability. While they may come second to the Watts in terms of sack production, I think in terms of playmaking, hits on the quarterback, drawing attention, I think they're absolutely unbelievable. Both were defensive rookies of the year. Joey has 47.5 sacks through his first 5 full seasons. Nick is an absolute animal when he's healthy. Both teams, LA and San Francisco, really demand that Nick and Joey respectively, play at a high level, and they need them to be successful. There's more stress on their shoulders, and they step up. If Nick's healthier, the Bosa's are higher on the list. I've got them at number 4. Number 3, I'm going to let my bias show a little bit here. I'm going to go Stephon and Trayvon Diggs. More just for Trayvon, just the statistical anomaly. 6 picks in 5 games, 7 picks in his last 7 games. It is an absolute just rarity in today's NFL, right? You're going back to the 1950s and 60s to get this level of interception production out of a defensive player, because with the mindset on turnovers and interceptions and especially the rules in today's NFL, it's much harder to get interceptions. Teams just won't throw your way. Diggs has done that this year. He started the trend last year. He's continued it this year. Stephon, I think, is an underrated receiver, right? And I know he's a Pro Bowler and All-Pro, but I think what he did for Buffalo is absolutely outstanding, right? We look at Minnesota, right? Minnesota was winning playoff games and going to NFC Championship games with Stephon Diggs on that team. They leave, they're missing the playoffs, right? He is a team glue guy who is extremely productive. He blocks, he catches short routes, he's good on third down, deep plays, the whole situation. Stephon Diggs is a truly great player. I'm more impressed by him game by game, watching what he's doing in Buffalo. Number 2, taking a little bit of a different twist here, right? I'm going Michael and Martellus Bennett. And here's why. I think Michael Bennett is one of the most underrated players in probably NFL history. This is a defensive lineman, right? Defensive tackle for Seattle for a number of years when they had their Legion of Boom defense. So Seattle, people forget, right? It was all about the corners and safeties and Sherman and Chancellor and Earl Thomas. But they played what's called the cover 3 defense, which means they had a 4-down defensive lineman, 3 linebackers, a deep safety, which was Thomas, a short safety, which would be Chancellor, and their 2 corners, right? One of which was Sherman. Because they didn't blitz very much, they needed to get pass rushing and run stopping out of their defensive linemen. Michael Bennett was that guy. He was the Warren Sapp of that team. He never really got the credit that I think he deserved because of the publicity that Thomas and Sherman got, but he was an absolutely dominating force, multiple Pro Bowls, should have gotten a lot more, an absolute superstar, played at a really, really high level for the time in the Legion of Boom, won a Super Bowl with Seattle, amazing player. And then Martellus Bennett, I think he kind of gets forgotten, right? He was a journeyman tight end. He had over 400 career catches, right? Very, very productive guy. And he won a Super Bowl, right? That's something either JJ, TJ, or frankly, Zach or Martin, Nick Martin, Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, they can't say that, right? So both of these guys have won Super Bowls. Martellus Bennett had a huge role in the Patriots' comeback against Atlanta. I think that has a bigger role on my mind to thinking of what these guys were able to do in the biggest moments on great teams and in big situations. All right, number one for me, I'm going Travis and Jason Kelsey. I'm a big Jason Kelsey guy at center for Philadelphia. I don't like Philly, but I love what Jason Kelsey is able to do. He's able to run block. He's able to pass block. He pulls. He gets out on screens. He's the leader. He does so much for that team. He went to 3 straight all-pro seasons. The fact that he hasn't gotten the more is only because Philly has stunk the last couple of years. He's maintained his high level of performance. He's a great player. And Travis Kelsey, look, the guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's breaking tight end records, right? I think he owns the NFL record for receiving yards in a season. He is more important to that office than I think than even Tyreek Hill at this point. As Tyreek Hill is, there's ways you can maybe scheme Tyreek Hill out with a certain zone coverages. You can't scheme out Travis Kelsey. He's been an absolute animal. He's done a great role in that offense. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's my number one. Him and Jason is a number one brother combination in the NFL. My underrated, you mentioned them. I'm going Kyle and Chris Long, right? I think they did a lot of good things off the field, right? You mentioned the man of the year. They were pretty productive. None of them were really superstars, right? Kyle won 2 Super Bowls. Chris played a lot with the Chicago, and now he's Chris won 2 Super Bowls. Kyle played a lot with Chicago, and now he's with Kansas City. I think they're good players. I don't think they were great players. They were more situational role players who did their job, real kind of patriot kind of guys, and I think that got them a lot of publicity, but I don't think they're really that talent. I think they kind of overcame some of their talent deficiencies to have, successful careers in the NFL. And they got 2 rings to show for it.